authors to know and their books to read. I'm your host, Martinique Brown. I'm so excited that you have decided to tune into the show today. You know why? Because we have a very special author that will be joining us, and she's going to actually be talking more about her book, When Hearts Connect, a healthy relationship guide. Don't we need that? We just need to learn how to have these healthy relationships. And Latifah has actually helped us in just learning more about this by writing this book for us. If this is your first time ever tuning into the show, make sure that you go ahead and share this video now so that more individuals can learn more about Latifah's book, as well as why she decided to write the book. And that's why I created the show, just so you all can learn more about authors and their books that they actually wrote, so they can, just benefit your life, and also so you can share these books with other individuals as well. All of our contact information is in the description box. So make sure that you visit that description box regularly, because I do mention it a lot throughout the show. Welcome, Latifah, to the show. Latifah, welcome to the show. Welcome to the
thank
show.
you. I'm so glad to be here this evening.
I'm glad that you're here as well. So, Latifah, so let me ask you, why did you decide to write your book, When Hearts Connect? What inspired you to write?
Okay, and this is it, When Hearts Connect. And well, I compiled this information because I've always been interested in relationships and how they work and all of that, because I didn't have any really good models in terms of a healthy relationship. So I was always inquisitive. So what I did is I compiled a lot of information on how to have a healthy and successful relationship. And I mean, just to give a little bit more about me, I am a victorious survivor of abuse. And my first book that I wrote was Suffering in Silence, Breaking the Cycle of Abuse. And because of being in and out of abusive relationships for so long, I wrote that book. And as I wrote that book, I had to free my own soul from that domestic abuse. And as I was writing, I was still interested in relationships, healthy relationships, because once you get out of that abuse, you have to know, how can I get in a healthy relationship? And then how can I move forward from there? But first, getting out of an abusive relationship and learning to value myself, or learning to value self, is so important. Because if you get out of one, you'll get into another one, you get into another one, until you love who you are and value who you are as a person. Because how are you going to love someone else and be able to give them that when you don't give it to yourself? So that's what I had to learn, to give it to me. And that's how I got here today.
That's good. And that is so true. It is such a vicious cycle that people just continue to be in until they recognize, one, that they're in a unhealthy relationship, and two, that they're worthy of being in a healthy relationship. So I know we actually have a couple people that just tuned in. We have Dairo all the way from Africa, as well as Kenneth and Patricia. Patricia says she's gonna catch us on the replay, but I see that we have a couple more people that's actually tuned in. Make sure you go ahead and share this video now, as well as just post your question and comments. Just let us know you in the house. Let us know that you watch it, and give a shout out to Latifah as well. So Latifah, if you could just walk the viewers through your book, just to help them have a better understanding of what your book is about and what they should expect to be reading.
Okay, well, again, When Hearts Connect, a healthy relationship guide. And in this book, what I actually do is, like I said, I compiled a variety of information. I have tips on how to have a healthy relationship. I also talk about, the things that you do not want to do in a relationship. how the things that you want to do and the communication, having effective communication, how to I talk about communication games, and so that you can have a better communication, and also how to have a fair argument,
Oh, that's
how
good.
to have how to have a solid, is your relationship solid? How do you have a solid relationship? What do you do when like when things uh, start to go downhill? How do you pull your relationship back to to a healthy place? And I have a love language quiz in here that people do to find out what is your love language, and why is it necessary to learn each other's love language? Sometimes when men take care of women, and the woman says, well, you're still not satisfied. Why aren't you satisfied? I take care of you. I provide a roof over your head. But that may not be her love language. She may just want you to be there. To be there. Of course, you want to take care and do the things that you know you need to do. But then by the same token, you want to tap into her love language. It may be her love language may be gift giving. Her love language may be quality time. She just maybe want to have that quality time with her mate. And that may make her the happiest because that's her love language, and it fills her up inside with the love that you give from that quality time. And a male may have a different love language. So you want to find out what the love language is so you can enhance that love language.
That's good. So, you know what? As you were telling us a little bit more about the chapters in the book, I realized, and you let me know if I'm wrong, Latifah. So the book is not just for intimate relationships, it's just any type of relationship you would have. Oh, that's good.
But it is geared more toward couples. But you have to say, well, how can I make whatever relationship I have? You have a friendship. You want to make that friendship better. And like I said, it gears toward couples, but I think you can integrate any kind of relationships in here. You just have to go in there and look and say, okay, what can I do to improve my relationship that I'm having? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a love relationship.
Definitely. And I think that that's one of the benefits of just reading in general. A lot of times you can pull out different principles and practices, really just to implement them in your own daily lives. So I think that that's really good. So what are some of the things readers will actually learn from the book? Is there something specifically that you really want to really just help readers to focus on, because I think sometimes me as a reader, I love reading, but sometimes I feel like authors will just write multiple pages and I'm like, I got it in the first 2 pages. Like, you don't have to keep talking about that. Is there anything you wouldn't want a reader to really miss, from reading your book?
Well, I think that at the beginning we talk about the tips, and I think there's 40 tips, and sometimes people may have a tendency to kind of run through them, but I think all of them are so important, every last one of them. And so I wouldn't want them to miss those tips just going through that, because it may be something that a person is going through in their relationship. Okay, how can I do this? This is a tip that I could use to bring things back on track in my relationship. And I do a workshop with this book, a couples workshop. And one of the things that we do in the couples workshop is we have the big, the paper, 11 by 17 paper. And what they do is they go through all the tips and they write the 5 most important tips. and then they put an X by the one that's the most important. Because, out of all the tips together, they can say, this is most important in our relationship. And I think that's so vital in a relationship, to know what you deem the most important in your relationship moving forward. So that's one of the things. Yes.
Yeah. But I have a follow-up question with what you just said. So, and you let me know if I'm wrong. Sometimes I feel that individuals in a relationship, they think that everything is fine in their relationship. So, the other party may feel like there's some areas they need to work on. If this one individual, decides, okay, I really want to read Latifah's book, and I really want our relationship to be better. What if you had that other person that's that you're in a relationship with, that's not really seeing that their relationship needs just some adjustments? So how are you, just as that one person, just supposed to implement these things with somebody that doesn't think that
there's anything wrong
with your relationship?
Well, what I say to do is try to introduce it to your significant other. And if they do not want to, our relationship is fine. Yeah. But see, also, Martinique, it's not just for people that are having issues. It's for people that have good relationships. Because you know what? Anything that we have for a long period of time, it becomes a little stale. Okay? And everything that we have, it needs to have a boost every now and then. People have been married 10, I've been married 20 years. I don't need that. I got everything. No, because your relationships needs an uplift sometimes.
Yeah.
A lift.
Like your car.
Maintenance work. A tune-up, maintenance. Every relationship needs that. Don't think that you know it all because you've been married 25 years.
Right.
No, it needs an uplift. You can go in this book, and I guarantee you can find things in this book that will help you in your relationship. It may be just the slightest thing. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So you never know. We all need help. Nobody is operating at 100% in anything.
Right.
So we all need help.
And I think the scary thing is to ask that question, are you happy in this relationship? Because sometimes you could be afraid of the answer because you don't want to know the truth.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes people don't. And some people are just on autopilot and they're in the relationship. But we want to get the relationships on fire. Yeah. How can you bring the fire back into your relationship?
You are so great, Latifah. Yes.
I'm loving it. I want to burn it up.
Yes. So let me ask you this, and I know that you touched on this at the beginning of the show when you were just letting the viewers know a little bit more about you. What actually makes you qualified to write a book that is on a topic that's sometimes subjective?
And I've studied a lot. I've done a lot of research. I'm a relationship coach. I'm a life coach. And also I do self-talk for success. I've gone to school. I have a master's degree in human behavior and development. So I know a little bit about the human being. Yeah. And, and I study people a lot. So, I think that qualifies me to do what I do. And this is my 8th book. Praise God.
Amen. Amen. And I know that we have some people that just tuned into the show, authors to know and their books to read. We actually have Latifah Hameen on the show, and she wrote the book When Hearts Connect, a Healthy Relationship Guide. And she's just telling us a lot more about herself as well as her book. If you're interested in purchasing her book, all of the links to her website as well as to the Amazon page, you can purchase her book there. They're in the description box. Also, if you truly enjoy this show, make sure you go ahead and share this video now. So I know that you did mention that your book goes hand in hand with your couples training, and you have a couple of couples trainings coming up on June 22nd and July 13th. So the June 22nd one, you all, is going to be in Indianapolis, Indiana. And the July workshop on July 13th is going to be in DeSoto, Texas. So can you just let the viewers know what they will expect if they decide to attend these trainings?
Oh, wow. We start with a like a little newlywed game. We get couples kind of like breaking that ice. So what the couples do is they sit back to back, and I ask questions. I ask questions of the guys first about the wives, and the wives answer the question the way she feels that her husband would answer it.
Yeah.
So that's that's, and then I see which one is, how closely they match. Mm-hmm. And then I get two questions for the husband and two questions for the wife. And then I do the bonus question. And at the bonus question, the couple with the most points at the end of this game, well, I have a little woman's toiletry little basket and a man's toiletry little gift thing. So anyway, I make it worth their while. I try to give them something. And then we go on and we talk about the 40 tips that I mentioned, and we get the paper, the big paper, the big sticky paper, and we stick it on the wall, and the husband and wife, they get up and they talk about what's important to them, the 5 points that are important, and they talk about the one that's the most important. Then we talk about the do's and don'ts of healthy relationship, what to do, what are some of the things you want to avoid in your relationship. Okay. Then we do the love language quiz. We do that. And then after the love language quiz, we talk about effective communication games, how to have a healthy argument or a fair argument. Mm-hmm. And then we talk about that and we list those things. And then we do a exercise where the husband and wife, they have a chair, and I bring it in the middle of the room, and they sit and they face each other. And each one has to tell the other why, they talk about how they appreciate each other, and they think about something that happened that week. Mm-hmm. And how they really appreciated the other for what they did for them, and they didn't get a chance to tell them. Mm-hmm. And so when I had that in San Antonio, I had people crying. They had Kleenex, because it was so emotional and so touching. Yeah. That to sit there and look at your spouse, and maybe you haven't even had a chance to really sit there and look at them in the eye in a while. Mm-hmm. And tell them exactly why you appreciate them and what they have done. And then I have and then at the end, I give them a certificate. And on the certificate, it talks about it's a radical marriage certificate. Mm-hmm. And I downloaded it, and I read it off. And as I read it off, they look at each other and they repeat after me. Mm-hmm. One of the things is, I promise to love you. I promise to make you first in my life. And then there's a little paragraph that goes with each one. So they would look at each other, and they look in each other's eyes, and they say this. and they were crying when they were doing that too. So it was really emotional and real touching, but it's necessary
Yeah,
because sometimes they don't even get a chance to sit down and look at each other and talk like that.
that's true.
So it was such a really, really heartwarming workshop for me. It,
Is
it was
is it, and it sounds like it's a great workshop. Do you ever have individuals that's hesitant to become that vulnerable in front of other people like that though?
good question because I talk to them about vulnerability and I tell them, I said, vulnerable. See, a lot of times people think vulnerability is weakness, but
Mm,
vulnerability is strength.
mhm.
You know, to be able to bear yourself like that in front of each other and even in front of the other people, that vulnerability, that is strength. There's nothing weak about that.
That's good.
And because people say it's weakness, no, you got to be strong in order to sit there and talk like that and bear your soul like that. You have to be strong.
Hmm.
And so vulnerability is so much strength. And in vulnerability, only in vulnerability are you able to truly love your mate.
That's
Because
good.
people stay together for years and years and they never really know true love
Hmm.
because they've never let their guards down. They've never been, as I say, naked, where they bear their soul with their mate.
Yeah,
You have to be really strong to do that.
that's
And so,
good. That's
yeah.
good. That sounds like a very powerful workshop that you have for couples. And I think that couples take those type of trainings for granted, because I honestly feel that people don't feel that they need those type of trainings at all, because I think that they sit back and say, "Oh, they know that I love them." So,
Yes.
I just think that is something that people take for granted. So, I don't want people to only walk away from this show thinking that, oh, she's just an author. No, she's so much. Latifah is so much more. So I would love for you to just tell the viewers a little bit more about your company called Powerful Choices Now and the different services that you actually provide.
Okay, with Powerful Choices now, you can go to my website and I know you have it there. Uh, we provide, besides the training, I have all of my books. I have my books on an ebook, and you can actually go and get an ebook. If you do not want to purchase the whole book, you can get the book, but you would have to download it, or you can put it on your computer and just read it on your computer. So I have downloads. I do public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I have that on there. I do self-talk for success. I'm a life coach, relationship coach, and I'm a poet. And I do a blog talk radio program,
Mm-hmm.
American Muslim 360. I'm on Tuesdays from 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. And I work very closely with it's called the American Muslim 360. I work very closely with a lot of a lot of the advertisement. And I help out with a lot of different, I would say, the programming there.
Okay.
And my program again is Powerful Choices Now. So I'm able to do all of those things, and I have a nonprofit organization,
Mm-hmm.
Healthy Positive Choices. We do domestic violence awareness. And so that is so dear and near to my heart
Right.
because I help people. Every year we give a scholarship out to a woman that has been abused. We
Mm-hmm.
give a scholarship out. She writes an essay. She reads her essay at our luncheon that we have every year, and we just try to reach out. I've done work with the youth at the high schools,
That's
where I would
good.
go to the high schools and do and do a program with them with one of my books called How to Not to Teens and Young Adults Relationship Abuse Workbook.
That's so good. And that is so needed too.
Yes.
That is really needed. So I'm glad that you transitioned us to your other books. So with your domestic abuse awareness books, because Latifah has actually written 5 books on domestic abuse awareness.
Yeah, 5. Yes.
5 books. And I know that you did mention that you dealt with that in the past. Why was it important for you to write those type of books?
Well, I wrote 5 on domestic abuse, and then 2 on healthy relationships, and a poetry book. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I'm a victorious survivor of abuse, the first book that I read, I wrote, Suffering in Silence, Breaking the Cycle of Abuse. Mm-hmm. I had to break that cycle. I had been in and out of abusive relationships for many years of my adult life. And so I had to break that cycle. And once I broke that cycle, I started writing books. That was my healing mechanism, to write those books and to share my life. Girl, I opened my whole life up and shared it with the world. But I prayed and I cried, and it was like, praise God that he blessed me to say, share this information, help someone. Because if I can help one person, in turn, that person helps another person. And we can shine this light on abuse so that one day we won't have abuse in this society.
That's true.
So, and that's what that's my work. I am a humanitarian. I work in this field. I dedicate my life to making others' lives better.
So you all, if you are interested in purchasing Latifah's other books, they are actually on her website, and the ebooks are there as well. And those 2 links to her websites are actually in the description box. So make sure that you visit the description box and click on those and check out the books that she has actually written. So Latifah, what are some of the lessons that you actually learned from your abusive relationships that you put into your books?
Well, first I had to learn that I was the common denominator in all of my abuse. Mm-hmm. Because when I got out of that, I was still staring and looking at myself. Mm-hmm. So that was the number one thing. I learned that when you are going through something, get help. Mm-hmm. First, you have to admit that you're being abused. Then, then get help. Find someone to talk to. You need someone to talk to. Don't hold that stuff inside. And don't think that your love is enough to hold on to anyone. Mm-hmm. You have to find the love within yourself. And then free your soul of that kind of thinking, and free yourself from being a victim, and make the choice not to be a victim. Mm-hmm. And free your soul and make choices and take responsibility for your choices. Mm-hmm. Don't blame someone else for the decisions that you make. Look at yourself and remember it starts inside of you. Because if you are loving you, or if you care about who you are, then you don't allow other people to come in and treat you any kind of way. You teach people how to treat you. Mm-hmm. If someone does something to you and you say nothing about it, guess what? They will continue to do that. Inside, you say, well, I don't want them to do it. No, you teach them how to treat you by not saying anything. You're telling them it's okay that you're treating me like this. So you have to make the decision that I will not let anyone treat me anyway. I will stand up and I will say, no, I will not let you treat me like this because I'm better than that.
That's good.
I love who I am on the inside. And that will be generated on the outside when you love who you are.
That's good. And I know that you mentioned if somebody is in an abusive relationship to reach out to somebody. Could they possibly reach out to you as a life coach?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. I
So
do.
here's your somebody, people. Here's your somebody.
Yes, relationship and life coaching. I'm here. And, and I've actually put, I've had some of my clients to write letters stating things about my work. And I put some on Facebook. You visit the Author's Corner on Facebook as well. I put some of my letters on there that was written about my services. So
that's good. That's good. So now, what is the name of your nonprofit organization?
It's called Healthy Positive Choices.
Okay. So with educating teens and adults on domestic violence awareness, how does your organization actually go about doing that? Do you always just go to different locations of, where teens or adults are?
Well, I contact some of the counselors in schools.
Okay.
And then I will go and see if I can go and speak in someone's class.
Okay.
And I'll give them, sometimes I'll have the book and I'll have maybe 1 or 2 lessons with them. And some of them have let me do the whole book, come back and at different times.
Okay.
So it just depends. Sometimes I can do a couple hour session with them, as long as I can give them something, because you never know who you may help. There may be some of the students that may be contemplating suicide.
So
and
true.
You come in and say something and may change their whole world. So you just never know. That's why I'm always available to talk and to coach someone, or to just give a seminar, or or give a workshop. You just never know.
Definitely.
You may help.
That is so true. And if you're interested in having Latifah come and speak at one of your events, or just hosting an event specifically on this topic or relationship topics, make sure you go ahead and reach out to Latifah by visiting her website. So now, how can the viewers actually support your nonprofit?
Well, what one way is to invite me to your churches, your centers, your schools, because I go and I do those free of charge. Okay. I go to the schools, I go to the community centers, I go to the churches, I go to them free of charge, because that's my way of giving back, because we have to give back. And that's my way of giving back. And you're asking me, how can they help? Well, we're always accepting donations at healthypositivechoices.com. And we, if you want, what I could do is, again, I could be available for anything that you want me to come, and even groups, women groups that may want someone to come and speak to them. So, I mean, there's the variety of ways, mostly donations, because we do give scholarships away every year. And that helps out with scholarships for the women that have overcome abuse.
And her website, again, is in the description box. So I know you talked about a little bit about your broadcast that you host every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, you all, the link is in the description box, but something that's really cool about this broadcast is you can actually call in and just make comments and questions as well. What are some of the things that you actually discuss on Powerful Choices now uh, when viewers or when listeners actually tune into the show?
Well, I usually like the first 6 weeks I did talk about the book. I broke down every chapter and we
Okay.
discussed chapters. And I talk about healthy relationships. Sometimes I talk about domestic abuse. Sometimes I have guests on,
Mhm.
and the guests that I have on, I have guests on that are doing something in the community, and I may have you on as one of my
Hey,
guests
hey.
because of things that you do, the things that you do in the community. So if someone is making a difference in the community, we like to hear about it. We
Mhm.
bring them on and they tell us about what they do, and and all of that, and they leave their contact information so someone can contact them. So it's an hour-long show, but in between our personal we do the PSAs, and after those, and we have people. It's about, you're on about 40 minutes, and
Okay.
then I have the time, and then we do a dialogue, and I mean just a variety of the different things that we do. So
That's
that is really,
good.
yeah. So I really enjoy it because I make it broad. I don't make it just about domestic abuse. I don't make it just about healthy relationships. I make it about community involvement.
Okay.
People are making a difference in the community.
Yeah, and so make sure you all visit that description box because the link where you can listen to the broadcast is in the description box, as well as the telephone number if you ever want to call and make a comment or ask a question. Um, so, Latifah, so I know you're telling us a lot about your book and it sounds great, but we have so many relationship books out here. Why is your book, When Hearts Connect, a healthy relationship guide, the best one to add to my bookshelf?
Well, I think it is the best because it has so much powerful information.
Mhm.
Like you can take this guide and take it and put it in your purse, and you say, "Oh, let me see, what happened last night? Oh, what can I do to make this better?" Okay, one of the things is don't say never or always. Why shouldn't I do that? And it
Mhm.
says when we say these words, it seems so final, and nothing much can be said after that. So I didn't know that I should never say never or always in my relationship. Oh, that's interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then I said, okay, what is my love language? Oh, wow. She has that in there too. Well, how can I have a argument that's fair? And how can I tell my significant other that, oh, this is how we have a fair argument? How can we communicate effectively? Oh, I see that we can do this. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
And so it's just a variety of things that you can do, just tips and just some advice. So you can put it in your purse. And it's not a book to just be reading from front to back. It's a book to go in and get information,
Mhm.
valuable information that helps you in your relationship. If you have a great relationship, you can go in there and read some of these things and make it even better.
That's
So
good.
you have this as a guide, on your shelf as a guide. It's something that you can take every day and get something out of it. It's not a book that you read and put down. It's a book that you look at. Oh, wow, I can get this out of here today. And you think, oh, I'm having an issue. What does this book say about this? So
Mhm.
it's a guide, and that's why I said it's a relationship guide.
That's
So
good.
it will guide, and that's
That's
exactly what it does.
That's excellent. And I'm just thankful that you did take the time to write a book like that because I know so many times with relationships, because we have different personalities and things like that, I think that we all can utilize different tips and tools to really help us in the different relationships that we have for just our everyday life. Because like I said, people have so many different personalities, as well as, just situations occur, and people's, character may change or personality may change. And
Yes,
so, and the only thing that we can control is our own, is ourselves. So we can't control anything, anybody else. But it is good to have something on your bookshelf that you can begin to just implement in your own life, to just have those best relationships possible. And another thing with relationships, sometimes it is wise to cut off some relationships that's not
oh
healthy for
yes,
yourself.
yes,
And
yes.
so, not every relationship is specifically meant for you to be in. And so I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
that's
something,
true.
yes.
That's true.
So I
That's
think that that's something mindful that we should just remember. So do not forget to visit Latifah's website, so you can just see all of the books that she has written, specifically When Hearts Connect, a Healthy Relationships Guide, to really just help you with the different relationships that you may be in. If you are in a domestic um, abusive relationship, then Latifah is also here to talk to you more about that. Her, like I said, her website is in the description box, and her contact telephone number is there as well. So go ahead, don't be shy to reach out. As you can see, Latifah is full of energy, and she's just such a great person, and just such a nice
thank
woman
you. Thank
that
you.
I have been learning and getting to know over
Thank
the
you.
months. And so, Latifah, again, thank you so much for being on Authors to Know and Their Books to Read, and letting us know a lot more about yourself, your services, Powerful Choices Now, as well as your book.
Well, can I leave you with one of my poems?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I can't say no.
Okay. Self-love, when self-love is truly there, you will feel it through and through. It will be the spirit that dwells inside of you. When self-love is truly within, you'll know happiness because it will be part of your being. When self-love is truly there, it's like a ray of hope in the air. When you walk in the room, confidence will shine. You'll be rare like a fine wine. No need to say a word. It will be on your face. It will be on your smile, on your face, and you will glide with such grace. When self-love is truly there, you will have self-respect, which commands that you be treated the best. When someone does otherwise, you will quickly rise and politely excuse yourself, because this is treatment you won't accept. When self-love is truly there, self-esteem will be the best, because you won't settle for anything less. Do you have self-love?
That's good. Woo! Snapping it up. That was snapping it up. That was so good. Thank you for leaving us with that.
Thank you, Martinique. I appreciate you.
Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. And I hope you all have a blessed night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.